On this day, I was at my limit due to illness from the day before. However, my son's wife, Tina, as usual, left her daughter Ellie with me and went off to work. I just can't do this anymore. After much worry, I decided to call my son, Raymond. Hello, Raymond speaking. Mom, what's wrong? Sorry to bother you when you're busy, but I'm feeling a bit unwell. Could you possibly tell Tina to come pick up Ellie as soon as she can today? Wait, pick up Ellie? I'm actually out with Ellie right now. What? That can't be. Hold on a minute. See? Caught off guard by Raymond's unexpected response, I quickly switched my mobile phone to video call and showed my granddaughter quietly playing house in the living room. But Raymond, looking puzzled, said, who is that? Ellie is, look, right here. And showed Ellie drinking juice next to him on his mobile phone. There was the familiar smile of Ellie. It's true. Then who is this child? Struck by an unknown fear, Raymond and I fell silent, and then we would come to know a shocking truth. My name is Hannah, a 60-year-old widow. 3 years ago, my son Raymond, my granddaughter Ellie, and I experienced an unbelievable incident. Moreover, the mastermind behind that incident was none other than Tina, Ellie's mother. When I learned the full extent of the incident, I felt a deep anger as a mother. And I felt an intense outrage that such selfishness could not be allowed. This all started a little before Ellie was born. At the time, my husband Watson was hospitalized with terminal cancer, given only a few months to live. Watson often said, I just wished I could have seen Raymond's wedding. Then one day, Raymond introduced us to his fiancée, Tina. Tina was introduced to Raymond by a friend, and they had been dating for 2 years. She worked in human resources at a mid-sized company, seemed to have a good personality, and was very thoughtful, which was my first impression of her. Raymond, on the other hand, is serious but a bit inflexible. Tina naturally supported Raymond in such a way. I felt very reassured seeing the two of them together. I'm glad he met someone good, I thought to myself. However, that day's news was not just that. Actually, Tina is pregnant. They were going to have a shotgun wedding. It wasn't unusual, so it was a happy surprise. But that made the wedding seem difficult. Considering her condition and financially prioritizing the childbirth costs made sense. So without mentioning the wedding, I said, That's wonderful! To hear 2 pieces of good news today makes it a very special day indeed, and congratulated them. Watson seemed to share the same sentiment, offering his blessings without any issue. But then, Raymond said something unexpected. So, we're planning to have a simple ceremony with just the family before the pregnancy becomes too noticeable. They were planning to have a wedding in a month. A wedding? But she's pregnant, right? Is that okay? Yeah, we've talked to the venue and arranged a stress-free plan. So don't worry. Can you talk to the doctors here to make sure Dad can attend? It's close to this hospital. I was surprised that everything was already arranged. I was quietly moved by how dependable my son had grown to be. Thanks to Raymond and Tina, Watson was able to attend his son's wedding as he had wished. And a few months later, Watson passed away peacefully. Thanks to the thoughtful Raymond and understanding Tina, Watson left for heaven with the best memories. I later heard that Raymond and Tina had not initially intended to have a wedding. We weren't really interested in having a wedding. We'd rather spend the money and time on travel or things for raising kids. But we knew Dad wanted to see a wedding, so we decided to have one anyway. That was for Watson. Thank you so much. It was the best act of filial piety. And Tina, thank you, truly. Not at all. I actually enjoyed wearing the wedding dress more than I thought. It was a good memory, and I'm grateful to Watson. At that moment, I was again thankful that Raymond married such a generous person as Tina. However, that was the end of my interactions with Raymond and Tina. After Watson's funeral, they stopped visiting altogether. There were various reasons, but distance was a major issue. It took almost 3 hours one way by highway from where Raymond and Tina lived to my house. Since deciding to go to college, Raymond has been living alone, and it seems he's still living in the condo he bought new after getting a job, even after getting married. When Watson was healthy, we often visited by car, but that became impossible after his hospitalization. The problem is, I don't have a driver's license. I had no trouble getting to the supermarket for work, daily shopping, or going to the hospital, but visiting Raymond and Tina was too far. But I couldn't very well ask Raymond and Tina, who were both busy working, to come visit just because I wanted to see my grandchild. In our overly quiet, rural town, there's nothing that could entertain a grandchild. The most we could do was harvest vegetables from the garden or collect insects. However, Tina was extremely afraid of bugs. There was no benefit for them to travel 3 hours one way just to come to a bug-filled countryside. Thus, I had never once met my granddaughter Ellie. But it wasn't as if we had no contact at all. On weekends, Raymond would sometimes call me. It's Raymond. Mom, how are you doing? Fine, nothing's changed. By the way, did the package arrive? Yeah, it arrived. Thanks as always, it really helps. It's fine. Vegetables are expensive in the city, right? Well, yeah. Oh, hold on a second. Ellie? Here! Grandma, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. How about you, Ellie? Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for the vegetables. Although the conversation was just a few minutes, it was the only pleasure in my lonely life. Plus, nowadays, we can video call with mobile phones. Maybe because my eyesight is getting worse, I can't see Ellie's face clearly on the mobile phone screen. Still, just being able to see Ellie smiling was more than enough for me. Then, one Friday, I received a call from an unexpected person on my mobile phone. Tina? I had her number saved, but she had never called before. If she had something to ask, she would convey it all through Raymond, so I hadn't even heard her voice in years. Surprised by Tina's sudden call, I was inwardly anxious. Could it be? Has something happened to Raymond? That worry crossed my mind. Cautiously, I answered the phone. Then, Tina started talking in an unexpectedly cheerful voice. Hello? Hannah? It's been a while. This is Tina. Do you have a moment right now? Yes, I'm fine. What's up? Actually, to summarize, both of us have to work this weekend, so we were hoping you could take care of your granddaughter, Ellie. Our childcare center is closed on weekends, and we don't have close friends nearby. You're our only hope. Could you, please? Tina sounded very desperate over the phone. I don't mind, but isn't it too far? Considering the transportation costs, wouldn't it be less of a burden to find someone else to take care of her? Personally, I was overjoyed at the opportunity to take care of Ellie, whom I hadn't seen in so long. However, it seemed wasteful to spend so much time and money on transportation just for work. I couldn't come to a decision and was worried. Sensing my hesitation, actually, there's a branch of our company in the city where you live, Hannah. I'll be going there for help this time, so the company will cover the transportation costs, Tina said in an oddly cheerful voice. And then, once more, Ellie has been wanting to see you for a long time, too. Please think of it as helping us out, she pleaded again. If that's the case, alright, I'll take care of her at my place. I agreed to take care of Ellie for the weekend, defeated by the words that Ellie wanted to see me. Tina was overjoyed, even through the phone. And the next moment, she said something unexpected. Thank you! Then I'll bring her over tomorrow! Tomorrow? The next morning, true to her word, Tina brought Ellie to my house. Ellie seemed a bit out of it, probably from waking up early and the long journey. These are Ellie's clothes and lunch. She's wearing regular pants, but sometimes she wets the bed, so please put a diaper on her just before nap time. She has no allergies, so you can give her any snacks. Tina said this, handing me a small bag and some bread bought from the supermarket. Raymond is on a business trip, so please contact me. Ellie, wait here, playing with Grandma. I'll come to pick her up by evening. She explained everything in a matter-of-fact tone, then left the house without looking back. Ellie, are you tired? Want to take a break? When I asked, Ellie silently shook her head no. How about we watch TV together? With the visit being so sudden, I hadn't prepared any toys for children, so we spent the day watching TV, taking walks and drawing to get by. Although initially puzzled, the time spent with my long-awaited granddaughter turned out to be very enjoyable. However, Ellie hardly spoke that day. She was very chatty and laughed a lot on the phone. I wonder what happened. Also, her hair seemed a bit shorter than I remembered. The atmosphere was somehow different from when we talked on the phone. I guess you never know until you meet in person. She was quite different from what I imagined. At that moment, I felt a strange sense of discomfort. However, I chalked up this discomfort to the tension of a 3-year-old suddenly being pulled away from her parents and didn't pursue it further. If only I had been more vigilant at that time, perhaps Ellie and the others wouldn't have had to suffer. From that day on, Tina began dropping Ellie off almost every week. I blame myself for not verifying, but I honestly didn't expect the work to be so frequent, and I was quite perplexed. Moreover, Tina completely ignored my schedule and physical condition, forcibly leaving Ellie behind. "You're not feeling well. It's okay, you can rest. Ellie can stay quiet as long as she has TV. Ah, you have an errand? Then please leave her until you're back. There are no thieves in the countryside, so it's fine, right?" Against Tina's selfish arguments and nonsensical reasoning, I repeatedly asked to discuss the days she would bring Ellie in advance. However, Tina would evade the conversation, and in the end, "I'm really sorry for always being so demanding, but it helps us out a lot. Thank you," she would always say. And the next week, as if nothing had happened, she would drop Ellie off again. To Tina, I must have seemed like a convenient, free daycare. That's why my schedule and plans didn't matter to her at all. I was furious at Tina's selfish behavior and considered taking drastic measures. Maybe I should just go out early in the morning and stay out all day on weekends. But the thought of something happening to Ellie scared me, and I never went through with it. That's how careless Tina was with Ellie. Maybe I should talk to my son Raymond about it. I had thought that as well, but that too ended up being just a fantasy. After all, Raymond and Tina were busy working on weekends, which is why they sought my help in the first place. Bringing up a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law conflict seemed like it might not be the best idea. It could even result in losing my time with Ellie, which I wanted to avoid at all costs. I wanted to see Ellie, so I wanted to avoid the worst-case scenario. But I couldn't go on like this. I felt like I was lost in a maze with no way out. And with each weekend, my feeling of dread grew. Feeling that this couldn't continue, I decided to change my mindset. This is like supporting child rearing. I'm helping Tina with her parenting in place of the busy Raymond. I convinced myself to think this way. It was a far-fetched idea, but it was a desperate measure when no fundamental solution could be found. Things took a significant turn about 6 months after I started taking care of Ellie. One Friday night, I was struck by a severe chill. Tentatively, I measured my temperature and found it was nearly 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I immediately called Tina. Tina? I've come down with a fever. I'm really sorry, but I can't take care of Ellie tomorrow. My apologies." "Is that so? Understood. Take care." Expecting complaints due to the sudden notice, I was surprised by her brisk response. But at that moment, I was in such physical discomfort that, despite her forceful ways, she's still a good person at heart. That's reassuring. I felt more relieved than anything, so I didn't question the brief and straightforward exchange with Tina. After hanging up, I searched through the medicine box for a fever reducer, but unfortunately, I was out of medicine that day. Just my luck. If I can move tomorrow, I'll have to go buy some medicine. To stave off the intense chills, I piled on a ton of jackets and made my way to bed with unsteady steps. Despite being so bundled up, it took a while to fall asleep due to the chill coming from inside my body. Thinking that tomorrow would be a rare day off, I didn't feel any rush or anxiety. Though my body felt heavy and painful, my mind was surprisingly light. However, the next morning, Tina and Ellie showed up at the usual time. Thinking they wouldn't come, I was startled awake by the persistent doorbell ringing. Then, with disheveled hair and looking like a snowman, I cautiously opened the front door. "Good morning! Thank you for today as well." There stood Tina and Ellie, prepared as usual, just like any other day. Is Tina suffering from memory problems? Or is this a dream? It was as if last night's conversation never happened. Everything was business as usual. While questioning my own sanity, I hesitantly asked Tina, didn't I mention it on the phone yesterday? I can't today, because I have a fever. It would be terrible if Ellie caught it, right?" Confused, I reiterated to Tina that I couldn't take care of Ellie today. However, Tina said, "As I've said before, it'll be fine if you just let her watch TV. Man, it's too late for you to be saying this now. I'll be late for work. Please, take care of her. And she left Ellie at the doorstep and left. Shocked by her selfish and forceful behavior. Wait, Tina! Enough is enough! I couldn't help but yell after the departing car, but Tina didn't return. Feeling dejected, I turned to Ellie, who was standing quietly at the entrance, and said, I'm sorry for raising my voice. Did I scare you? Let's go inside for now, okay? And we went back inside. The chills had somewhat subsided, but the headache was severe. I thought about going back to sleep or buying some over-the-counter medicine, but with Ellie in the house, neither seemed feasible. By this time, lunch preparation had also become my sole responsibility. There was no way I could cook in my condition. After much deliberation, I decided to call Raymond. Hello, Raymond speaking. Mom, what's up? Sorry to bother you when you're busy. I'm feeling a bit under the weather. Could you tell Tina to come pick up Ellie as soon as possible today? Wait, pick up Ellie? I'm actually out with Ellie right now. What? That can't be. Hold on a moment. Look! Surprised by Raymond's unexpected response, I hurriedly switched my mobile phone to video call and showed Ellie quietly playing house. But Raymond, looking puzzled, said, who's that? Ellie is, look, right here. And showed Ellie drinking juice next to him on his mobile phone. Ellie waved innocently with her usual smile. I don't feel any discomfort in that appearance. It's true, then who was this child? Struck by an unknown fear, Raymond and I fell silent. Anyway, can you tell me why you're taking care of her? After a brief silence, Raymond decisively asked about the situation. I explained everything I had been told by Tina, and that I was in no condition to take care of a child due to my illness. Understood. I'll head over there right away. Just hang in there a bit longer. Yeah, thanks. Could you bring some headache medicine too? Got it. Need anything else? After this exchange, we ended the call. Clutching my mobile phone, I quietly watched Ellie continue playing house across the table. Could it be that she's not my granddaughter? Then whose child is she? The first thought that came to mind was Tina's secret child, but the idea of a secret child the same age as Ellie seemed far too unrealistic. But with a severe headache, I couldn't think of anything else. Before long, Raymond and Ellie arrived. Raymond handed me the over-the-counter medicine he had bought. I'll take care of the kids, so you get some rest, Raymond said, loading the children into the car before heading out to a nearby large supermarket for groceries. Thanks to Raymond's thoughtfulness, I was able to rest quietly in my room for a while. Glancing at the alarm clock, it was just past 2 p.m. The headache had completely vanished. Just to be sure, I checked my temperature as well, but there was nothing unusual. Good! Oh, what about Ellie? I rushed to the living room where my granddaughter Ellie and Ellie were happily playing together now. Mom, are you okay to be up now? Raymond, who was on the phone somewhere, peeked out from the back of the room, holding his mobile phone. Yes, I'm fine now. By the way, did you find out anything about Ellie? I asked cautiously, and Raymond explained what happened while I was asleep. First off, the girl is Elizabeth. She's also called Ellie by her family. She seems to have been taught that this place is her dad's grandma's house. Raymond continued to share his conversation with Elizabeth. She was a very articulate child, clearly stating her full name and her parents' names. Then, her mother's name rang a bell, so I asked more about it, and she said, My mom works at the hospital making medicine. It's right next to the childcare center. There's a bus stop with the same name as the hospital, and I can see buses and ambulances every day. She answered confidently. Amazing, right? It was hard to believe she's the same age as Ellie, and she even remembered the name of the hospital. Raymond took a sip of his coffee after saying that. Then he began to speak in a hushed tone. I was sure, after hearing the name of the hospital. Elizabeth's mother? She's one of my business contacts. We've been acquainted for a long time, exchanging casual conversation. She mentioned that she has a 3-year-old daughter attending the adjacent childcare center, and so... Probably trying to calm his nerves, Raymond took another sip of his coffee. Then I called her directly. I only had her work number, so she didn't pick up at that time. I left a message on the voicemail, waiting for a reply. So we just have to wait then. After this conversation, Raymond and I sat in silence for a while. Neither of us knew what to say, probably. Although nothing's clear yet. Tina, probably. I was lost in thought. Minutes later, a call came from Elizabeth's mother. Raymond retreated to the back of the room to talk quietly, explaining the situation. A few minutes later, after hanging up, "She's coming over now," he said. 3 hours later, Elizabeth's mother, Rebecca, arrived at our house. She seemed to have come straight from work, with a faint smell of disinfectant on her. I heard Elizabeth is here. Where is she now?" "She's tired from playing, napping in the bedroom with my daughter. Please come in." I led Rebecca to the living room table, where Raymond served coffee. Rebecca nodded politely, but sat silently without touching the coffee. I prepared a drink for myself and sat at the same table. "Thank you for coming all this way. First, let me explain what has happened so far." Raymond, occasionally checking facts with me, told Rebecca everything that had occurred over the past 6 months. At the end of his story, "I think my wife is having an affair with your husband," he said, very reluctantly. I instinctively looked at Rebecca's face, expecting her to be shocked or enraged by being suddenly called to the countryside and told her husband might be cheating. I didn't know what I could do, but I was ready to calm her down if she became upset. However, my worries were unfounded. Contrary to my expectations, Rebecca let out a deep, long sigh, very quietly. Then she said, "To think that not only did I hurt Elizabeth, but also cause trouble for Raymond and others? He's truly beyond redemption. I'm truly sorry for the inconvenience caused by my husband's infidelity, leading to such a situation." She deeply apologized. "Rebecca, please don't apologize. If anyone's to blame, it's my wife as well. Because of her selfishness, Elizabeth has been put through this." "It's not your fault at all. Besides, it might sound inappropriate, but I really enjoyed the time spent with Elizabeth, so don't worry about it." "Thank you. It's embarrassing to say, but my relationship with my husband is almost over. It all started when—" Rebecca began to talk about her husband, Sean. According to her, their marital relationship soured after Sean committed adultery following the birth of their daughter, Elizabeth. She mentioned that Sean never cheated during their dating period, but after Elizabeth was born, he cheated twice. She believed him when he said it was a one-time mistake due to alcohol, but she couldn't forgive him the second time. However, she wasn't ready to make the decision to divorce. So, she told him that if he cheated a third time, she would divorce him. Thanks to that promise, Sean stopped cheating, but we became more like Elizabeth's parents than a couple. Well, Sean seemed to want to return to a romantic relationship, but I found it disgusting and couldn't. After sharing her story, Rebecca started drinking her coffee vigorously, as if to cool herself down. Then, after gulping down about half of it, she continued, "I started feeling something was off about 7 months ago. He began coming home late from drinking parties suddenly, so I got suspicious." Rebecca said she closely observed Sean's behavior for about a month. 6 months ago, when sudden business trips and drinking parties began to occur frequently again, she was convinced of his infidelity. She immediately consulted a lawyer about divorce and hired a detective to investigate Sean's adultery. The initial investigation didn't reveal who the other woman was, so it was ongoing. But now, finally, I can proceed with the divorce, child support, and compensation claims. Not just for me, but I'll make sure my husband pays for continuously betraying Elizabeth. Rebecca's eyes showed strong anger and determination. "Rebecca, may I ask you something?" Raymond, who had been quietly listening, asked with a thoughtful expression. "Yes, what is it?" "Most of the evidence for the adultery is in place, right?" "Yes, now it's just a matter of informing him and discussing it through lawyers." "How about we make everything clear about the adultery here today?" "Huh?" Surprised by Raymond's unexpected proposal, not only Rebecca, but I was also taken aback. "Embarrassingly, until my mother contacted me, I was completely unaware of my wife's infidelity, and that she was exploiting my mother to this extent. Raymond said, his eyes filled with sadness and regret directed at me. At that moment, I remember the discomfort I felt on the day I first took in Ellie. If only I had consulted Raymond sooner. There were numerous opportunities, but I was the one who didn't act. What I thought was for the best completely backfired. I'll never forget the regret I felt that day. It's shameful to say this now, but while Rebecca is here, I want to confront my wife. Please help me. I beg you. Raymond asked deeply, appealing to Rebecca. Rebecca appeared a bit hesitant at first. Of course, I'd be happy to help. But she readily agreed. The time that followed seemed to pass in the blink of an eye. Rebecca contacted her lawyer and the detective agency, explained the situation, and discussed the next steps. Meanwhile, Raymond called Tina's workplace, only to find out she had never been asked for help as she claimed. Though Raymond was shocked, it seemed to completely clear his feelings towards Tina. As it got dark, Tina came to pick up Ellie, as usual. Pretending to feel sorry, I said, "I'm sorry for yelling this morning. As an apology, I've prepared dinner, so please have some before you go," I said, forcibly inviting Tina inside the house. Tina, with a grim expression as she entered the living room, caught sight of Raymond sitting at the table and gasped. "Raymond?" "Tina, take a seat. We need to have a serious talk." The heavy atmosphere around Raymond made Tina's face turn pale rapidly. A few minutes later, Rebecca returned with her husband Sean in tow. Upon entering the living room and noticing Tina, Sean froze. "Tina, why are you here?" "What about you?" Unable to hide their panic, I coldly stated, "We've gathered today to discuss Ellie. Tina, it seems this child is Sean's daughter. Why would you bring Sean's daughter to our house and even lie that she was my granddaughter?" "Well, that's because, Sean asked me to." "What? Don't make this my fault. It was your idea, wasn't it?" "Would you just be quiet for a second? Sean said he couldn't ask his wife, so reluctantly, since he insisted so much, I just helped out." "What's that supposed to mean? Don't make me out to be the bad guy. I told her to stop, but Tina wanted to. It's not a lie about work. I really did go to work. And Tina is just a work colleague. Don't get it wrong." Tina and Sean tried to shift the blame to each other and made excuses, trying to clear their own names. Their conversation was inconsistent, and just listening to it was enough to give me a headache again. It was all noise without substance. Rebecca was the one who silenced them. "Let's get divorced." The house fell silent at her words. Wait a second. What's going on all of a sudden?" "It's not sudden. Remember our promise? If you cheated again, we'd divorce." "No. So it's not like that. She's just a work colleague." "Sean, those excuses won't work anymore, will they?" Rebecca then placed her mobile phone on the table, showing a picture of Tina and Sean kissing in a car. "This can't be happening. How?" How did you get this?" "I paid for a private investigation. There's a lot more evidence than this." Faced with undeniable evidence, Tina and Sean fell silent. Then Raymond confronted Tina. "Tina, so the story about going for help was all lies, wasn't it?" What are you talking about? That's not possible." "I called your office earlier. They said there's no way a part-time clerk would be asked to do such a thing. And the training to become a full-time employee was also a lie, wasn't it?" That is..." Tina was speechless, looking down for a while. A heavy silence lingered for minutes. What's going to happen now? Unable to see the future, all I could do was silently observe. Fine. Yes, it's all lies. Everything about Ellie, the work, all of it was just to make time for Sean. So what, are we getting divorced? Tina's unexpectedly cheerful voice broke the silence in the living room. Admitting everything, Tina's attitude was defiant, as if she was a completely different person. "I've always liked Sean's type. Raymond has a nice apartment and a good salary, but he lacks charm, you know? It's just different. It's a stable life, but it lacks excitement." Tina expressed her dissatisfaction with Raymond and her affection for Sean without any sign of remorse. Raymond is serious, right? At first, I thought that was a good thing, but it's just boring. Sean, on the other hand, is my type, and he's fun to be around. Plus, he always thinks of me. I'd do anything for Sean. Tina smiled at Sean like a girl in love, betraying her family and husband without any guilt. From the strange appearance, Tina thought that her marriage to Raymond was already over, and using this discussion as an opportunity, she's probably thinking of starting a new life with Sean. Seeing Tina smiling so happily, Raymond and I were too stunned to say anything. How can she say such things after betraying her family? My head was filled with disbelief. However, Sean's unexpected response shattered Tina's smile. Stop joking around. The only one I love is Rebecca. Rebecca, I was wrong. I'll change for real this time. So please don't divorce me. Ignoring Tina, Sean pleaded for Rebecca's forgiveness. However, Rebecca's feelings were unchanged. Despite Sean's desperate attempts to win Rebecca over and avoid divorce, Tina, with a flushed face, What? Love is supposed to be with me, right? We even made marriage promises. Weren't you going to sweet talk your wife? Erupted. I would never marry someone like you. It was just more convenient to schedule office affairs, just playing around. Thinking it was serious is crazy. Sean coldly dismissed Tina. Then, once again, he implored Rebecca to reconsider divorce. Learning of Sean's true nature, Tina became even more enraged. Her loud arguments and insults towards Rebecca and Raymond, and her escalating anger. Eventually, woke up Ellie and Elizabeth, who had been napping, causing chaos in the house. Faced with the children's cries and Sean's cold retorts, Tina's anger reached a boiling point, leading her to yell at the children. Be quiet! We're having an important conversation here! Shut up! Exposed to such unjustified and selfish rage, the children cried even louder. It was then that the usually mild-mannered Raymond, Don't yell at the kids! Yelled at Tina with unprecedented force. Overwhelmed by Raymond's presence, Tina finally quieted down. Raymond, while holding a sobbing Ellie, stated firmly, Tina, Sean, we'll discuss the future at a later date. For now, please leave. And expel the two of them. Overpowered by Raymond's determination, Tina and Sean left, bickering with each other. Though the discussion turned out to be incredibly tumultuous, it was good to clarify the adultery. That evening, I finally had dinner with my real granddaughter. Despite the previous upheaval, we enjoyed a peaceful and happy time together. Later, discussions for divorce took place involving both families. With Rebecca and Sean signing an agreement and Tina expressing her intention to divorce, the divorce was finalized swiftly. Ellie's custody was granted to Raymond, as Tina relinquished her parental rights. Raymond had intended to gain custody from the start, so he was relieved. Although there were some disputes over alimony and compensation, the payments were made in full, without significant reductions. Tina quit her part-time job afterward. Somehow, the news of her affair with Sean and the deception involving the fake daughter spread throughout her workplace. She faced cold stares from her colleagues and even earned an unflattering nickname. Sean also faced repercussions at work due to the affair becoming public, resulting in a demotion. Furthermore, Tina, unable to let go of Sean, turned into a stalker, leading to police involvement, as Rebecca shared. Rebecca herself left her hospital job to take over her family's pharmacy, moving back to her parents' home. Her parents were delighted to live with Elizabeth, as Rebecca had struggled to visit home due to her demanding job at the hospital. As for me, this incident dramatically changed my life. I sold my longtime home to move into a new house Raymond had bought. Now I live a new life with my real granddaughter. Ellie enjoys my country-style cooking. Grandma, this is delicious too. I love all of Grandma's food, saying, and she quickly grew attached to me, thanks to our frequent phone calls before the move. Now, Ellie is in elementary school. Sending her off to school every morning has become my daily routine. During the day, I enjoy gardening in the small yard of the house Raymond bought. I can live this peaceful life thanks to Raymond. I am grateful for my calm and happy life, quietly wishing for Raymond to find happiness with a new partner.